what happens in the bullpen? They need to stop using a phone in St. Louis and start texting who exactly they want to come in from the bullpen. Have you ever seen the wrong guy come in before?
Twice.
Actually, he can't make it to the phone right now. We've got a different person who could come in. Yeah,
and this is the World Series. You know, this isn't a preseason game. This isn't a scrimmage. This is for all the marbles.
Yeah.
A lot of these players may never get to this point again. As a manager, you don't know if you may get to this point again. You would think they would have a surefire way for making certain that the right guy gets out there, so that you don't have to have a fake huddle and then a fake huddle up, and then just have the guy you accidentally sent out walk one guy. I think it kind of played into their favor actually eventually, because they sent out the first the guy with the long Polish name, I think.
Yes.
And they sent him out there, and he walked a guy, and that actually turned out all right, because you don't want to send a pitcher out and have him start out with just straight up deliberately walking guy. You want to have him start out with his best stuff while he's fresh, he's hot, and he's ready to go. So I think it might actually worked in their favor a little bit, but weird that would happen in the biggest stage of baseball.
But I would like to be that guy who's at the end of the bench in the back of the bullpen. He's like the guy that just catches in the bullpen. He's a third-string catcher. Send him in to intentionally walk a guy. Let him get a World Series appearance. If you're going to call somebody from the bullpen, hey, yeah, what we want you to do is we're going to do a pitch out. Like, really? We're going to intentionally walk this guy? I've been waiting all my career to make it to the World Series, and I'm going to walk the guy.
Here's what got me, Ed, is that the two names that the name of the guy that actually went out there and the guy that Tony La Russa wanted, Jason Mott, don't sound anything alike.
No, they look sort of similar. I mean, the guys look kind of the same.
Well, they've all got the beards going.
But how do you not know who you want?
Well, exactly. And how do you not know when it's your turn? You're kind of getting yourself.
Yeah.
Usually have an idea of when you're going to go into a game, and so to not know, and even if you couldn't really hear, like if you just hear a, why would you not clarify?
Yeah. Well, but in the bullpen's defense, Tony La Russa has been. I mean, his decisions going to the bullpen. I mean, I'm surprised he doesn't go to the bullpen right after the ceremonial first pitch. Oh, that's enough.
He would if he could, I think, but I think he knows there are limits.
But he is using every single bit of that bullpen. Well, it worked. So
another funny thing, though, to me is that they sent the guy out that they did, and that they didn't think, because Mott's their best closer.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny to me that they didn't assume, okay, well, he probably wants Mott because he's our best. No, let's send out the other guy who's kind of been subpar in this series and who's got hit around a little bit.
Yeah. Well, did you hear the follow-up story? And we'll kind of put a bow on the World Series. Did you hear Curt Schilling saying that Albert Pujols might not be worth the money that they say he's worth? Yeah, Schilling, who he won with the Red Sox, and
right now I haven't heard that, and so you're gonna have to fill me in. Now, was he saying that in reference to the money that Pujols wants and the contract that Pujols wants, or
he's actually saying in reference to the numbers people are throwing around? They don't think he's worth that much because he doesn't do everything. He's not out there in front with the media, and he's not a leader in the clubhouse. Really, I mean,
it's hard to argue what the guy does at the plate, though.
Exactly.
And I like Curt Schilling, so I kind of understand what he's talking about, and some of that may have been brought on by the whole no-show that Albert did when he made that what it could have been a fatal error for St. Louis that caused them to lose Game 5, where he interfered with a throw to home that allowed a Rangers score. I know that does bug people, particularly in the media, and it's not so much that it's for them, but it's for the fans. And so to some extent, I get what Curt Schilling's saying, but at the same time, numbers are numbers. I mean, if you have a guy that produces like Albert Pujols, I mean, come on.
I mean, we haven't had 3 home runs in a game in the World Series since Reggie Jackson. Not even my daughter remembers that. That's how far back that is.
Yeah. So. Those are ancient times. But one of the great World Series, I almost felt like in the end, Ed, you almost had to, whether you're a Cardinals fan or not, And I kind of admit I was kind of rooting for Texas all along in this, just because I liked Ron Washington's style, aside from the cocaine. But I like his managerial style, and I like the way that Texas is just a fun team to watch for me. But after that Game 6, you almost felt like you had to root for the Cardinals to pull this thing out.
Yeah, I would have worn my Cardinals shirt even if they had lost. So I just want to say that either way, I would have done that.
In the interest of all objectivity, that's what would have happened.
Yeah, I would have.
Okay.
And these, I've been to the Rangers ballpark. I have a sister who lives in Texas for a long time. And again, if the Rangers were playing anybody else, I would have cheered for the Rangers. And I think they had a very interesting story, even though they had a massive amount of wins. Just the way they played themselves into the World Series alone, it was a very good story. So,
yeah, and like I said, very fun team to watch. Ron Washington, I was trying to figure out for the longest time who he reminded me of, and then it came to me, Dave Chappelle's show, Black Gallagher. Looks exactly like him.
And he should always wear his hat in the press conferences. I don't know why he doesn't, especially after a game when his hair's all poofed out. Like, Ron, I mean, you clearly keep a mirror on.
You're allowed to wear a hat to begin with. I mean,
he clearly keeps a mirror in his office. Maybe you should take it off the desk and use it to look at for styling his hair. That's all I got to say about that.
Perhaps. You got to love his celebration, though. The nervous jitter dance that he does.
Well,
I mean, for all of Tony La Russa's nitpicking and all the ways that he's involved, and I don't mean that in a negative sense, because obviously he does it for a reason. And he's been very effective at it.
Mm-hmm.
But for all that, the guy who's the most fun to watch and I think gets the most attention has been Ron Washington in a sense, just because of some of his idiosyncrasies that we see.
Well, and again, until they bring in drug testing for the managers, we have no idea if he was chemically enhanced or used performance-enhancing drugs for his happy dance. So until I see those results, I fail to see a reason to comment on his actions, because I don't want to give him credit like Curt Schilling pitching in the World Series on the juice.
Right, exactly.
But hey, speaking of the juice, and then I think we should get done with baseball, I really think Mark McGwire stepping up and going back into the dugout and going back in, he has plenty of money, didn't need to, and him to take on all of the naysayers and all the people who said, he was a great hitter just because he was on the juice. For him to go and be the hitting coach for St. Louis and to go back into that town when his reputation was maybe tarnished a little bit, I give the guy massive praise for doing that.
That takes some stones.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and he knows what he's talking about. I mean, he said very early on in the season, this Freeze kid is going to be phenomenal. And he's really worked out some good stuff. I mean, look at Berkman. Look what he's done with him. Hit 400 in the World Series, and he's been around quite a bit. Played with,
and he was a weapon.
Yeah,
absolute weapon. And you're right. And Mark McGwire has taken so much flack because of the whole juicing incident. But people forget that even before he started juicing, you can always kind of tell, because the numbers when they start juicing, if you look at those times, numbers just usually skyrocket afterwards. It's something we should have noticed a long time ago, but Mark McGwire was a great hitter before he juiced.
Oh yeah.
It's just that when he started juicing, then it went crazy and it went through the roof and he set records but this is a guy that does know the game of baseball very well and knows how to swing a bat.
But I think his approach in getting back in the dugout and the fact that Barry Bonds beat his record bodes better for him to get into the Hall of Fame than it does for Bonds or even Schilling at the end of the day.
And a lot of people, I think, a lot of people that really got on Mark McGwire was a lot of that negative attention, negative energy that was around him was because to be honest, he did not handle the whole court hearings and all the legal proceedings. He didn't handle that as well as he could have. Obviously, he wasn't honest about a number of things, and so people tend to let that bug them, understandably so. But when it comes to playing the game of baseball, the guy knew he could fulfill a role on this team, and he did it. And there was probably the difference between the Cardinals winning the series and losing it.
Oh, to be sure.
So
I think we stopped talking about baseball till April now.
Yeah, I think we will until the next crazy ruling with Bud Selig that comes out for drug testing for managers.
Yeah. Pitchers catchers report in 6 weeks.
Exactly. Bring a urine sample. Now, Ed, the NBA lockout is making strides, apparently. Have you heard?
I have not heard because I just don't care. That is a sport that...
You don't care.
No. And you know what? If the NBA shuts down, I would be okay with that. If the NBA completely goes broke and completely shuts down, I would be perfectly okay with that. Because LeBron James will never win a championship if they close down.
So you'd be all right with the machine that gave us Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and some of those all-time greats, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You'd be all right with that going away in order for LeBron and the rest of the spoiled little kiddies down in Miami to not get a ring.
Exactly. I'd be perfectly fine with that. That's like calling artillery in on your own position. I'm willing to do that. That's the sacrifice.
You're willing to fall on that historical sword in order to prevent dishonor in the field, is what you're saying.
But seriously, even if they started in January, who watches the NBA now? You tell me another sport where they don't show up, they don't care, they just kind of go whatever, and it just doesn't matter. They win enough games to get into the playoffs, and then they start playing.
I have the same problem with the NBA that I have with Major League Baseball, and I know I'm not necessarily in the majority on this one, but I just feel like there's way too many games. When you play 100 or so games a year, there isn't that one game. There's not just that one game that is so relevant and so important that everything, or at least a lot of things, hang on this game. You get that in the NFL. You get that in college basketball, for the most part. You get that in college football for sure, probably more than any other sport at any level.
But I said I wasn't going to talk about baseball anymore, so I do agree with you to a certain extent. But with Major League Baseball, the difference being they don't put 47 teams into the playoffs.
Right.
You win your division and you've got one more chance.
True. So
there's only 2 wild cards that are going to get in, which is a similar setup with football. The NBA lets way too many teams into the playoffs, and they should have a much shorter season. And I think if the sports got together and said, you know what, kind of like how the state fair sometimes goes on when school starts, why don't we all get together and say, let's not start your sport until we're done with our sport, because it's really not going to help you. And we're at the end of ours, and we're in the playoffs. People aren't going to really pay attention to what you're doing. So why don't we just start yours later? And I think you're going to have enough impact. That's why they started about running the NFL season longer. It's way too long. And even to, I know you don't feel this way about as a sport, but even to the point in NASCAR, drivers like Tony Stewart are saying, why do we have to run 500 miles? Why don't we run a 100-mile race or put 2 races on the same day and keep people interested in it? And I think people will be more excited about it. It's time once again for April Fool's Swap-a-Jock. On the Edge 88.1, we shuffle the music. Well, this week we're going to shuffle the DJs when we play Swap-a-Jock. April 3rd through April 7th, you'll have no idea what DJ could be working with what other DJ, and even what time of the night they're going to be on. So tune in for Swap-a-Jock. Hear your favorite DJ with a brand new partner when we play Swap-a-Jock on the Edge 88.1 KDPS Des Moines. You're on the Edge 88.1 KDPS with Ed and Jeff. We're going to take a break and talk some baseball. Jeff, I'm just thinking now at the All-Star break, the Minnesota Twins were back, two places back. They were behind the White Sox and the
Detroit Tigers.
The Tigers, that's right.
Yep.
And they turned it around and they clinched last night with the White Sox loss.
Yep, they did. They have the best record in the major leagues in the second half of the season. They've played some great baseball in the second half of the season. The Twins have a machine going, 6 division titles in 9 years.
That is amazing, and they are one of the smaller market teams.
Yep.
What's their budget or salary as opposed to the?
Well, actually, their salary has increased. I think recently with the building of the new Target Field. But
sure.
They're pretty stable as far as salaries go.
Yep. And the Joe Mauer. Now he took less money to stay with the Twins. But my favorite part of that story is the White Sox lost last night, lost the pennant, and Jim Thome hit the home run that clinched it for the Twins.
Oh, yeah.
And the White Sox are like, we're done with this guy.
He was an awesome pickup. He was a great pickup for Minnesota. And, I'm a Royals fan, but I would wish that my team could do it like the Twins do it.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed. And summer is coming to an end tonight at 11, so here's Summer Day by Sheryl Crow. You're on the Edge, 88.1 KDPS with Ed and Jeff. It's 8:41, the last day of summer. Here's some Hollywood news. Last night on Dancing with the Stars, big shocker, the Hoff, first one off of the air. He's gone.
I don't watch. Even with Kurt Warner, I cannot watch that show. I'm sorry.
No, I was able to watch it when Sean Johnson was on.
Does your wife make you watch?
No, she does not.
You watch out of your own volition?
I did not watch it. No.
Oh, you did not. Okay.
No, I did not.
Good.
I'm still a guy.
Okay,
all right.
Good.
Any other news going on in Hollywood, Jeff?
Yeah, apparently Paris Hilton says she's accepting responsibility for her drug charge. She's getting 1 year probation. Good for Paris.
Yeah, because when I think responsibility, I think Paris Hilton. Yeah, her and Lindsay Lohan, nothing but responsible. Well, you're on the Edge, 88.1 KDPS. And speaking of child stars, Lindsay Lohan, we're going to keep things moving here with Miley Cyrus and Bret Michaels. Nothing to lose. You're on the Edge, 88.1 KDPS. On KDPS 88.1, that's Another Way to Die by Disturbed. Speaking of dying, it's time for Dead Guy Trivia, where we discuss dead Hollywood actors. Jeff, are you ready?
Give it to me, Ed.
You stretched, you limbered?
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Now, you know the rules. What I do is I give you descriptions of the characters, and I don't give you clues about the person themselves. I will tell you this actor left us in 1999, and here's some things he did as a character. He wore pearl-handled revolvers.
No clue.
Okay. He slapped a private because he was a shell shock.
What?
Slapped a private.
Oh, a private. Okay.
Yeah.
Like as a ranking member of the military.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
His most famous movie, he was standing in front of a huge flag with ribbons and medals on.
Okay. Still no.
Yeah, still nothing. Okay. His name is George C. something.
George C. Scott?
Yes.
George C. Scott. Okay.
Congratulations, Jeff.
Heard of him.
You have won on Dead Guy Trivia. On Edge 88. Grandview Radio. You're on the Edge 88.1 KDPS. I'm Ed Vos. It is 9:06 on a Wednesday morning. It is September 22nd. That means there are about 100 days left in the year. In the news today, Jack DeCoster faces congressional investigation concerning the eggs, the Iowa egg scare, salmonella in 1,300 some cases, and the debate goes on whether or not you should get chickens or your eggs from a farm like DeCoster or whether you should get them as free-range chickens. Just so you know, be informed, the USDA has said in their regulations, free-range chickens are treated very similar to regular chickens housed in the big coops. They just have to have access to the outside. Which begs the question, what's access? I mean, prisoners get to walk outside. Just know where your chickens come from, where your eggs come from, and make an informed choice. You're on the Edge, 88.1 KDPS. You're on the Edge, 88.1 KDPS. No, you're not hearing things. That is the Charlie Brown Christmas music. I know, it's the last day of summer. Summer goes away tonight at 11 o'clock. Even though it hasn't felt much like summer, it's felt a little more like a very humid spring. But we have entered the first day of fall tomorrow. With that means the annual Toys for Tots drive will be starting before you know it. And they release some information about upcoming events for Toys for Tots. The first event, the kickoff for Toys for Tots, will be your very own Ed Vos. I'll be performing at the Funny Bone Comedy Club the Sunday after Thanksgiving at 7:30 p.m. All proceeds go to support the Toys for Tots. The United States Marine Corps Reserve has been doing this for many years, and it is a great way to help the kids in our community. Now, personally, I have served all around the world, and I've helped bring shoes and school supplies to kids in Afghanistan and the Philippines and Thailand, and I am proud to be part of the Marine Corps Toys for Tots here. So, if you want to get involved, go to toysfortots.org, or you can contact the Marines here at the 22nd Charlie Company, and they will be more than happy to have you start signing up now. It's not too early to get signed up. So we're back to the music here on the Edge 88.1 KDPS.